Okay, hey everybody. This is Grace, and let me tell you, oh, there's a beautiful butterfly. Let me tell you that yesterday, yeah, I sat out here and I made two videos. One was fairly long. It was 37 minutes when I put all the clips together. Like around, I think it was around 37 minutes. And it was about my experience with this with the doctors, you know, the whole group of, I don't know whether you call them a group, partnerships, alliances, so many different things I've seen these kinds of things called. And but this one, you know, I did a long video about my experiences over the past couple of years, and I had a point. I got to, you know, this is what I finally did to correct this problem. And the short version of that is I said, let them know that every contact that from their office to me has to go through the portal only. No phone calls, no emails, no text. I mean, I'm telling you, seriously, sometimes I was getting like all three of those, plus something through their portal. 4 things. And sometimes they don't give up. I have one, I told them to stop doing this, and what the woman wound up doing was deactivating my account, which led to a big, huge mess. And I told her, do not deactivate my account. I have worked hard on setting it up right, and you're going to deactivate it? Because you don't know what I mean, I didn't tell her because of what she doesn't know what she's doing. But she didn't know what she's doing, and she deactivated it. After I put in so much work. And then I called the helpline again, different person. He told me, you didn't need to be doing all of that. I said, this is what I was told by more than one person, to call every doctor's office and every one of them, tell them this. He said, no, once you say only through portal, that's it, only through portal, with all of them. I think he was a dreamer, but anyway, like I said, it was 37 minutes just to describe what was going on and over these 2 years, and that was just the surface. But I said that's what I wanted. And then, so I made that video, put it on the account that I usually do, just mainly, these days, it's mainly for medical stuff. And put it up, you know, put it together. Like I said, it was 37 minutes. And then to upload, did that, all that, and came back later on and deleted it off my phone. You know, once it's done, it's done. And just to find out that it was done, but not uploaded. That has happened maybe once in 11 years. 11 years. Once. Maybe once before, maybe, and I'm not really sure, but maybe that once. And I'm like, really? Hey, these kinds of things don't bother me. Nothing really bothers me all that much anymore, like it did when I was younger. You know, it's like, okay, you know, maybe it was meant to be. You know, maybe I shouldn't have, because I was pretty upset. I use my videos as it is. I've said this so many times. But my channels to more than one, over 11 years, you betcha. You know, it depends. There's some topics really I don't even need to speak. It's shopping channels and various kinds of channels that don't really need that. But the ones that I use where I speak, it's for, I've said, pressure release valve venting. The things that go on, and I elaborated starting yesterday or the day before, that is to help me kind of, you know, the more I mention this, the more I talk about something, the better it is for me. You know, it's like journaling. I've said that before. For me, I'm not saying anybody else. It could backfire on anybody else. I have a history of doing this. So I had my first computer in 1982. So anyway, you know, social media, doing it, making it public, The worst ones I make private. Nobody ever sees them. And it just helps me to keep talking about it. Don't hold it within. I'm a firm believer for people like me, or just for me. Anybody else, that's their business. I don't tell people what to do or suggest it even. But I don't believe in holding stuff, letting stuff bottle up inside. I just don't believe that that's good for me. And so doing this venting, the pressure release valve is good for me. That's how I see it. And so that's what I do. And each time I go over and over again, I can see different sides of it. I'm a firm believer in seeing alternatives to each situation, to see which one, which one fits better. Could it be this? Could it be that? I found something yesterday. I found something interesting. Was that I have been saying for years, because I had heard this as a student many years ago at university, I think, that we really don't know what motivates ourselves. Even so, we really don't know what's truly motivating somebody else to do whatever they're doing. And we don't even know what we're doing. We don't know what the motivations are. But I don't recall ever hearing in my life until yesterday or the day before I ran across it online. It could have been yesterday. And it was that that all of us, any of us who think we know what's truly the reasons why somebody's doing something are wrong, because only God knows what's truly in that person's heart, mind, body, Only God. I did not know that, but I have said so many times that when I was a student and my degrees are in psychology and sociology, I studied a lot. I was a career student over 20 years. But I've said that a lot of the stuff is really just what you learn in, say, Christianity. I don't know enough about the other ones, so I'm not talking about the other ones. But Christianity, a lot of it is what you then turn and see in these, these classes. It's just different wording. I've been saying that since I was a student, and that was a long time ago. They just phrase it differently. So, yeah. Anyway. Yeah, I think I might put this one on that account that I use for my medical. I'm sitting out here, and once again, I just came out to my SUV to make a couple of videos. I've been out here probably, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes or so. And I'm looking down, and my feet are swollen, edema. And I have this, but they've been swollen for the past few days. And I'm not sure why. And that worries me. Why? Out of the blue, there it is. Because earlier this year I wound up going to the hospital ER because I was very swollen. I have been complaining about being swollen since 2023. Not that it's helping me to complain, because I'm not, what I mentioned in that video that got deleted was that I'm not getting any diagnoses no matter what I say, no matter what I do, no matter who's with me. Well, Adam. Whether he's with me or not, whether I ask, flat out ask, nope, they're not going to put their name, their John Hancock on anything. They're not going to say this is the diagnosis. No, they want to run more tests, and then they want to get to the procedures that make them a lot of money. And I mentioned this, that I spoke to several people within their whole system, and one of them, she looked at my account, she said, whoa, she said, this doctor over here is running this test, when this one over here just did it, over there just did that test, and then another one is having it scheduled for a couple months from now. No, this is a test that you only do twice a year. That's what she told me. And they're doing stuff like that. They're not looking to see if the other people. Well, that's because one of them, when I first went, the office manager, she was new, and she said she was the one checking people in and all this stuff, because she wanted to see what her employees would go through. And it was just me and her in this room, and she told me I had just had a test 2 weeks prior to that, and she told me, well, the doctor's going to want that run again. He's going to want his own test. I said, why? I just did it less than 2 weeks ago. She goes, well, he's going to want his own. I said, maybe you need to, and I asked her to ask him. So I just took it 2 weeks ago. She went and asked him, came back, and she said, well, he said he doesn't need it. He come walking in, storming in, really, both barrels, kind of attitude, and said, this is my first time to meet him. And he said, I can't believe there's nothing wrong with you. Because that's what the test that I had just 2 weeks before said. Nothing was wrong. So I cannot believe it, so I'm going to run much more extensive tests. Like that kind of attitude. He said, and I'm going to be changing your medications around. Well, that is the wrong thing to say to me. So I fired him, and I told the doctor who, gave me the referral to him. And he wanted to know why. He said, why is it? Because he knew him. I said, it just wasn't a good fit. But I also heard, as I was leaving that day, I heard their staff calling patients and rescheduling appointments because that doctor that they were going to be seeing, it could have been him, wanted to have that, wasn't going to be there that day. That has been very consistent since I joined that group in 2023. Never before, and I was 60 years old then, just turned 60, in fact, I think. Never before then, in my whole life, had any doctor's office, any provider's office ever call to reschedule an appointment because the doctor or the nurse practitioner, whatever provider, was not going to be there. Never. I do not recall ever it happening in 60 years. And since I got with this group in 2023, this is 2025, it has been rather consistent. Like I just said, over repeatedly, different ones. Only one of them never did. Well, yeah, two of them really. I had to with one of them because there's, things that come up when I'm too ill to drive. Okay, too ill to sit up. I'm not always bad off. Okay, don't want to make, sometimes I downplay stuff. Sometimes, that might seem a little bit much, but really I may be downplaying again because this is September 27th, 2025. It's 5:07 p.m. But I'm looking at my thing, my clock here. But this whole month, pretty much for a month now, I have not been up to my usual. It's been weird. At first, the thing was I was sleeping like all the time. I'd wake up enough to go to the bathroom and then get back into the bed and watch a little bit TV, fall asleep as soon as basically I'd start watching it. And then it moved to this time where and I would stop to eat a little bit. Then it moved to where I could only go to the bathroom. And I was saying, I can't eat because it's going to hurt my stomach. And I could not eat. I was only eating anything that was soft, which was cake. Adam went and bought some. I don't eat cake. I'm diabetic. Cake is not I never liked it really. It just seemed like a lot of, a lot of sugar. And, but I couldn't eat anything else, and ramen noodles for some reason. And that was basically, if I could eat the ramen noodles, it felt like it, but usually it was cake. Okay, just a bite, not a whole cake. I'm talking just like bites. And yeah, but that's how this month has been. And now at this point of this month, today, I said I got to go really low sodium because of my feet doing this. And it's kind of scary to me, what happens just all of a sudden. And then, I have this health insurance, and I'm hearing so much about, Adam's telling me that, there's so much debate and argument, and he said, you might not have insurance next year. health insurance. I'm like, wow. To go back to that at this point, you know, I wanted to have the insurance and pay for it myself, you know, just outright. And I was told I couldn't do that. And I tried going through another way to do it. And oh my goodness, how awful. These people call one after another. I hang up the phone ring, I hang up the phone ring. I said, y'all need to stop calling me. Well, you put your name in there. You signed up for it. I didn't sign up to have people calling me. As soon as I hang up the phone, another one calls. You know, no. But there's such, I mean, who would want to get insurance, anything from somebody like that? And I found it was pretty much impossible. You know, that's what I would have, just call after call after call after call. Say, stop. Nope, they weren't going to stop. So, that went on for, I don't know how long. And, you know, blocking their numbers really didn't help that much. Maybe it did, you know, after a while, eventually. But I started reporting them too. It's my phone, you can report all these calls, and I told him, I said, I'm reporting your call. And it blocked it, and it reported it. So, what it does, I don't know. But this is, I'm kind of rambling here. I know it, that's how I usually do stream of consciousness kind of videos. But, anyway, I'm just sitting out here. I had planned on making a video, got out here, and I actually wrote it down, the highlights. It's a full page of highlights. Before I came out here, so I could do it, and got out here, didn't have a pen. So I like to check off what I've done, you know, so I don't repeat myself. And instead, I started talking about something like it, and I'm like, wow, you know, that far into it, and I haven't even started talking about it. What I had written down. This, I know myself. I've been making videos 11 years, and I know myself, and this happens, and it's okay to me. They're just vent videos, you know. But anyway, the reason I came out here, one of the reasons besides that, is we had the lawn mowed. The lawn service came by, and they you know, blow the grass off the, you know, in front of the house, the back of the house, whatever. Well, Adam eventually, years ago, I told him, I said, then something needs to change, because they would have those blowers, and the smell from the blower would, you know, the exhaust would come into the house. And I would be in one of these rooms with the front rooms with the door shut. Next thing I know, I'm gagging. And he had them to where they didn't use gas and you know, to do it. So that was good. But now it'll smell like a grass. Yeah, the whole house smells like grass. You know, after they did that. So I came outside because it was already pretty heavy. And I have noticed since I had that heart failure in March, that a lot of it depends on the weather, and I don't have it down pat on how, but like the air inside the house will feel heavy. That's the best way I can put it. Heavy, thick, you know, and then I'll have a harder time. You know, I have kind of shortness of breath. Then it could be the very next day or very few hours later, no problem. You know, it just depends on how thick it feels. It's a weird way to put it. The air is thick. Heavy, yeah. But anyway, so I came out here because of the smell of the grass and all that inside the house. And I wanted to make these videos. Like I said, I had one planned. But then I just started stream of consciousness kind of thing. And didn't get to the actual story the way I wanted to tell it. And so then I stopped that one, started making this one again. You know, like I said, yesterday I made one that was really long, and I go and you know, delete it by accident because I thought I had already uploaded it. I don't know how that happened. Once, Maybe once before then in 11 years, but don't know how it happened. If it just didn't take the first time. We did have trouble yesterday with the internet. Maybe that's what happened, but I have it to where mine, once, if it's not the internet, if it's not the Wi-Fi, I mean, the Wi-Fi, then it flips over to a different one. But maybe both of them are down? I don't know. I mean, I don't think that can happen. I don't know. But, yeah. But anyway, I think I'm going to go in because usually when my legs look like this, my feet, it's really my feet and the ankles and the bottom parts of the legs. When they look like this, I just go and elevate them and lay down, and I don't let them dangle, you know, when you're sitting down, how they're there like that. They have to be elevated. And I haven't had to do this in months to pay so much attention, so you know, I think it's a combination of what I've been eating lately. Could it be that it had too much, you know, as far as the ramen noodles, like the packet with the spice in them, the salt and all that, I usually cut it into 3. So still 3 with as high as it is. I don't know. It could be. I also kind of question what kind of sodium, or different kinds of sodium, and which one is it that bothers me. No, anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. I'll talk to you in another video. Bye.